everybody, so today I wanted to do a start to finish on some planners, actually just one, but I'm doing two different sizes currently. I'm actually making a pocket size traveler's notebook with this material here. I've already glued it and I'm about to stitch it, but I also wanted to work on, this is my template. Where'd my other template go? The A5 or standard personal ring bound, and this is a template for that. So I'm using materials that's from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using the same material as that one. So they come usually on a spool or they come in sheets. So I'm using two different ones, and I have leftover, and I'm hoping that it's enough, otherwise I'll have to open a new one, and I think I should have enough in here for that. So I'm doing the same thing that I did with this, which is just adhere two pieces of materials together, and then I'm going to put pockets on them. So what I have, these are both again on those spools from Hobby Lobby. What I need to do is cut down my sizes, so I might not have enough for pockets with this one, but we'll see. It is a very good idea to have a template. I recently started to do that and don't know why I hadn't done it in the past, but it does help a lot. So my template for my cover for this, I came up with 11 by 7.5. I don't know if that's a standard size for covers or not, because you can make covers even thicker, wider to accommodate more. So I came up with this size to work for me, and it leaves a lot of room. It's the same size that I used for this one that I made, and it's pretty full, so it works out. So anyway, so I'm doing both at the same time, sort of, because I'm using the same materials, but it's just different sizes. And one's a traveler's notebook and one's a ring bound. I am using the rings that I got from Ali. I do have links below. So these come with, that's just an elastic, the screws, back and front screws. One goes into the other, and then your rings. So that's, I already have out. And so I'm just, using this as a template. I already have my holes marked. So if you're going to make a template, use a nice sturdy cardstock and cut it down to 7.5 by 11 inches. And mark your center, just find your center, which is 5.5, and then mark the center, from this way, which is 3.75, to get your elastic or your strap, this part here, because this is how I use, what I use for a closure on all my notebooks. And then you go, and because you have your center here, what you want to do is you want to line this up with that line, and you can see through the holes and you'll see the lines, and then make evenly space it up and down, on each side, and then make sure you got that line showing through, and then you just take a pencil or something and mark it, and then go ahead and punch your holes, because you could use this later as a template. You just lay it on all your covers and mark your holes and then punch, instead of having to measure every single time like I was doing. And I really wasn't even measuring that much. So we're going to cut this down. This is going to be my inside. And I'm going to cut this down to 11 inches in length. And sometimes these are not like 100% perfect, so I always give it like a hair more, just in case I got to trim later on once everything has been built. And I just kind of square everything off. Like I'll even look down here and make sure that's sort of even with this line, straight by eyeballing it. Okay, so we're just gonna cut it. I am using this cutter, but it doesn't cut all the way through. I'm just using it to help me cut a straight line instead of using my blade all the time. I don't really like using the blade that much, like an X-Acto knife or something. And there we go. Okay, and then we're going to cut it down to 7.5, Again, just like a hair more than that, and it's a little harder to cut it when it's longer, but you could still do it. And if you can, you know, move that down so you can see the line better. Alrighty. So that's the inside. We'll do the same thing to the outside cover. And I think this is my end because I had already cut this, so I'm going to use it this way. That way I get a straight line on both sides. So it's 11 inches. We're going to go a hair, yeah, that's it, just a hair more. This one cuts a little bit better because of the material. I have to clean my nose pretty soon. Okay, and then this is not going to be enough for pockets because for this size I need 3 inches and there's not going to be enough, so I'm going to have to open up another one of these. That's going to be my pocket, the floral. I'm pretty much doing like I did here. I kind of like this solid back here and then the floral out here. And this way at 7.5, just one little hair above that. Now I do keep a lot of extra blades for these, for this, because I do use this for both paper and this kind of stuff. So I'm using it a lot on this, so then eventually I'm just going to change it out, and when I start cutting my paper I'll have a better cut. So let me see, I should have another roll so that I can cut my 2 pockets. Actually, I could use this. Yeah, I do. My last roll. Okay, this is how they come on rolls for these particular ones. And this particular one's called Blush Floral, and the other one, I don't think I have. I think it was just called Blush. Just a solid colored one. So, and I do like to completely take them off the rolls. I don't keep the rolls anymore. I was using the rolls as a rolling pin, and I'll explain that a little bit later, but now I have a Dollar Tree rolling pin, so that'll work out. Okay, so let's cut this down to 3 inches. Somewhere I have a note that my pockets were 3 inches. Right here I got my notes. Okay, and that worked out pretty well, so I really like that size. Actually, I should be doing this later. Usually what I do is I adhere those 2 big pieces together, and then I'll come back while this is drying. So let me just pause for a second. I am going to explain now before I finish that pocket later. Okay, you've got your 2 pieces, and then I need my adhesive, of course. I'm going to be using this one. I have 2 different ones, but actually I'll show you the other one since it's out. Right now these are the 2 that I have and I've used, and for this cover here I had used this adhesive. It works fine, and I have been using this one most of the time, so this is one that I just wanted to try out. This one's a little more like smelly, and they both smell. So I do have a fan going on behind me so that I can work in here. And this one here, I know for a fact that you can do a temporary or a permanent bond. So being that this can be temporary, you do have to work kind of quick. Within 15 seconds you have to put the 2 pieces together, or else it's going to be a temporary hold and you might get buckling or whatever because it's not going to hold 100%. So what you're going to do is you're going to take one of your pieces and lay it upside down, and then you're going to, of course this needs a lot of shaking, both of them do, and about 8 inches away you're going to completely spray that adhesive on here a couple times to make sure you get all your spots. And then you're going to quickly lay this on carefully and try to get it all even, because I did cut exact sizes. And then what I do is, with my hands, I first go like this. Then I take it up here onto this surface. I usually use a non-stick surface, and this is fine, the glass. And then I would have taken the roll and just, you know, braid everything and kind of just get everything to stick together. So we're going to put a little bit of pressure. But I just recently got this little rolling pin from the Dollar Tree. It's actually wood, and it's longer. So, you know, I have a little more space to work with. And, you know, just do it on both sides a couple of times, and then just put it aside and let it dry. This one right here takes an hour. I don't know if this one even says precautions, contains first aid for additional product, covers up to this doesn't say. Hold can 8 to 12 inches, make the bond while adhesive is tacky. It doesn't even say how long it takes. But I feel like it's already like ready, and it hasn't even been a full hour. And this is the one I use here. But I'm gonna use this one. Actually, no, I'm gonna go ahead and use this one. That way it's a little faster. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this. I'm gonna put this behind me. There's a cardboard laid out where I usually do this kind of stuff. So you're not gonna see me do it, but I'll come back and kind of show you how I do the rolling pin thing. Okay, I am back, and I quickly brought it over here. For some reason one side wasn't perfect. I don't know why, but we're gonna go ahead and do this real quick just so you can see what I mean. It does tend to kind of want to stretch a little bit, the material, once it gets that glue on it. So I don't want to do it too much, because it's just going to keep stretching it. And when it dries, it's going to want to retract. So I almost feel like it's already done, but you can feel like wherever there might be some glue, it'll be still tacky. So we're going to put that aside while we keep cutting our pockets. And later on, I'm going to trim and then make sure everything is even. It might be like a hair off on the measurements, but that's why we kind of gave it a little extra when we were cutting. Okay, so again, this is our inside, the solid color, and then we're going to do our pocket on the outside. And did I cut the top? I did not. Okay. So we're going to cut, after we did 3 inches, then we're going to cut 7.5, which is up here. That's the height of our covers. 7.5. Okay. And now we're going to cut another piece from here, and I'm just going to slip it in here for now. I'm going to cut it bigger, like a line bigger than 3, because all these rolls on the end, they're not perfectly straight. So we're going to fix that. Just going to cut this first, and then come back in and cut the other side, which is here, and then go in on the 3 inches again. And that way we'll get a straight on both sides. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tack these down with some washi. Now last time, oh, good grief, I forgot the length. What was it, 7.5? 7.5. I almost forgot. Okay. Alright, now we should be good. So let's bring this back for now. I gotta cut this. Let me trim. It's not sticky, so I'll go ahead and use my regular scissors. I'm gonna trim this extra here, and then I'm gonna put it on my thing and see if it's straight. Turn this around. See, this part here is a little tacky, but I think that'll be fine. Okay. And then I'm going to just look at this on the board here. I mean, it looks to be all even on this side. And it's even. I don't know how. Maybe just shifted. Alright, so now we're going to turn it around. If you have something that's directional, make sure you know it's in the right direction. This is like all over, so it doesn't matter. If there's imperfections, like maybe this curve right here might not fix itself later, I would try to put that to the back if I remember. But you know, it doesn't really matter which side. I mean, you could even do this on the inside if you want it floral on the inside. And we're just going to put our pockets down here. And I'm going to be sewing, but I'm not going to sew on camera. I'm actually going to do sew the smaller planner cover first, while this one keeps drying. This is the one I'm going to sew. It's pretty much the same thing, but different kinds of... Let me cut this little corner here that before I forget. And once I put my pockets down, then I'm going to cut those corners too, because I don't like pointy corners. Okay, so do you remember that? If you watched my haul video, you know I got this from Dollar Tree, and I was struggling with the tape they put in there, and it was terrible. It doesn't work at all with the tape they put in here. I haven't put a regular Scotch tape yet, but I did put washi in here, and to work it, you do have to open this. It doesn't work when it's down. What you gotta do is just kind of put your washi or paper tape. This is from Dollar Tree, and we're gonna cut a piece here, and then we're just gonna hold it on the blade there. It's plastic, you're not gonna cut yourself, and then just pull. It works fine, but it does not work with the tape they put in there. It's kind of like a clear tape, and I'm gonna put this here. So if you're gonna sew it, this is what you're gonna do. Well, at least this is what I'm gonna do. It's what I do. Make sure it's all even all around, and you see how easy that works. And then, you know, when you're not using it, just close it up again. So I am keeping the ones I got. I'm actually going to gift them, not keep them. But and then I'm gonna put a note and let them know that tape does not work. So try some paper tape. Okay. If you're doing this, don't use this tape on vinyl. I had used it on the vinyl cover. I ended up, it wouldn't come off. You know, I tried to peel it off and it left stuff, so I ended up having to clean it up. You know, all the adhesive that was on there. So, I mean, you could use it, but then you're going to have to clean it up. But hopefully this should hold. Alright, so I'm going to put that one to the side while it's drying. This one should be ready to sew. This is going to be a traveler's notebook, and the other one's going to be a ring bound. But you see, the covers are the same thing. You just got to size it to whatever you need, and then you put your workings in here. Alright, so I'm going to pause it while I go and sew this together, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I know this is not the one that we're actually working on, this one here, but I did want to sew one at least so you can see. It's just a smaller version. So it came out pretty good. I'm still, you know, a beginner with my sewing machine, so I do need to fix some things here. And I mean, I'm not that crooked really, but I am, you know, I started to veer off from where I was trying to be as far as, you know, how far in I wanted to go. but it did stitch great. And I need to trim off some things. My pocket either was too long or it stretched. I can't tell. So let's just trim off the pockets a little bit to make it all even, and then we're going to round it off. Let's see, over here. So now I did not adhere the pockets like I usually do, so that part, you know, will be separate, but it's stitched down. Okay, I think this one just a little bit, not much. And sometimes I press too hard and then the sewing machine just gets out of the control for me. I'm just a beginner. I'm not really a big sewing person. I'm not going to cut the cover part. My pocket kind of went in a little bit there. I'm not going to cut that because then my cover is going to be off. But this feels nice too. The cover with all the layers and everything, it just feels sturdy. And now I have some really nice pockets in here. So you don't have to round these corners, but I am going to, and I have plenty of room, you know, without the stitching being in the way. So I'm just going to carefully just take a little bit off that corner there. And I'm going to turn it around too, because sometimes you see the backing of like the pockets and stuff like that. So it's hard to hold. It's just a little bit. And this one here I gotta cut a little bit. So this is where you're going to just trim anything. You want it all to be smooth, except if the pocket is too further in, don't worry about that. Just leave it that way. Don't cut the cover more. But you do want to even out, like the two pieces that you put together, even that out. And then I'll turn it over so you don't see where I cut it. And this is what you're going to do with all your covers. This is going to be the exact same process for both Traveler's Notebook, which I always call TN, and your rings, the ring bound. Here I'm still trimming a little more. I don't want to see the backings of the materials on the outside part. Okay, now I ended my stitching here, so I want to make sure that I remember. Maybe I'll put the tape back that this is going to be my back. Okay. And I did use the walking foot on my machine. I have a Brother XL 2600i. It's very lightweight. It's a full size, but it's very lightweight. I made sure when I got it that I would get something lightweight, because I used to have a big one, a heavier one actually. It wasn't that big, but it, you know, you would have to leave it out all the time, and I don't leave these things out all the time because I don't use them all the time. So this one is lightweight. I can actually lift it with one hand, and I bought the walking foot for it. It was about $20-something, and it works great on this type of material, which is like a faux leather. And it'll work on your vinyl as well, but then for the vinyl I was told to use the Teflon foot, which I did get, and it does work great with the vinyl. So thank you guys for all your suggestions, and this is going to be really cute. Okay, so I'm going to pause because I feel like this is ready to stitch, and then we can continue with the correct size that we're actually working on today. Okay, I sewed both. I thought there were strings left. Maybe not. Okay. And we could take this off. This one kind of moved on me, so it kind of buckled. We're going to put that one on the back, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I think here's that string. It's not that bad, but since I'm going to make it the front, here, let's see if these will cut that. Where did it go? Here it is. Okay. Super excited about this sewing stuff. It didn't move too much, but this one here did. I don't know what happened there. It's okay. We are going to trim any excess. I probably just got to use more tape. Like maybe tape around and just hold it in place. Okay. And with this one, okay? This one has a little bit, not much. Alright, so we're going to cut our corners again. Maybe I'll just do both covers in this one video. I do have 2 playlists down below with what do you call it? With tutorials for both types of planners, rings and traveler's notebook. So if I do go ahead and do both of these planners here, then I'll list both of these, I mean this in both playlists. That way it shows up in both of them because it's got 2 different covers. Let's see here. All right. Okay, so here is our pockets, and I said I'm going to put this one in the back. That's going to be like this. So let's take our template now. That's not it. This one is it, and we need to be very careful and get this nice and straight and even. And I actually do use some binder clips, or these kind of clips actually, to hold in place while I mark. So, and usually I like to mark where I know I'm going to see it. So since the other side is patterned, I might not see that. Okay, so let's just, I'm going to hold it on the sides. Make sure it stays in place. Alright, so we should be good there. Now I'm going to grab my marker or felt tip, whatever this is here, Papermates, and mark my holes. Now I had made this particular hole a little bit off when I did it, so I'm just making dots. I want to be sure that I line those dots with my punch tool. Okay, now we could take this off and punch our holes. I do use this Crocodile 2 on the first setting, which is 1/8 of an inch. It's the smallest one that's on here. You can use an awl, or you know, if you have some kind of hole punch, try to use the smallest one you can. So the elastic, actually not elastic, for this middle one here, you definitely want to use the smallest that you can for the elastic. For these two, you don't want it to be bigger. Well, it doesn't really matter because these screws are pretty big, but you know, the smaller it is, the more secure. And I don't know what size this thing is, but it does work well with the 1/8. It's a little tougher when you have to go through several layers. And since I have this out, I am going to go ahead and continue with the other one. Now, sometimes those things don't come out all the way, so we're going to make sure it's out. So we got our 3 holes. This is for the ring bound. Now, we're going to do this one here, leaving this tape so I know this is my back. I'm going to do the same thing with this template. And same exact thing. This time we're going to make more holes. These holes come down 1/8 of an inch from the edge, so I start with the middle one and make my mark and then go over about 1/8 of an inch on each side. 3 holes here means it's going to give me 4 elastics. Then this is for your strap. Okay, so let's just mark it again. Now you could just put it in here with that template, but then you can keep resizing your little holes and then it won't be accurate each time that you use it. So we got our middle. And this will wipe off, so be careful when you take off your template not to rub it off before you actually make your holes. So let's get this out of the way now and make our holes. I'm trying to get under my stitching a little bit, not right on it because I don't want it to undo. I was trying to be a little bit closer than I got here with my stitching. So now I have to be careful with that and still line it up. Okay, got that one. Let's do this one and then the middle. And I always start with the middle one and then go out from there, avoiding my stitches. This is actually the first time I do a traveler's notebook that is stitched. I've been working on the rings mostly. Ugh. Okay. Whew. And I got a little bit of a piece there. I think. Did I get it all? Yeah. Alright, so there's our traveler's notebook. Punched and ready to go. I haven't picked out my elastic yet. You would put that in first, but since I'm not sure how thick this one's gonna be, I'm not sure how much to cut, so let's just get some elastic that's gonna coordinate. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna go with the white. It looks like I'm gonna have to order more white. I use this the most. I'm gonna do white, but let's sort of use this, even though this is like really stuffed. I'm gonna just cut something to go around here for a second, and I might have to come in later and fix this or redo it. But the good thing about rings is, or these rings in particular, you can take them out and keep changing it out. Alright, so let's see if I'm going to be able to go around with this. Yeah, okay. So, I normally have a length for my elastics written down, but this one's a pretty new one. Shoot. I wasn't trying to do that. I'm not going to do it completely tight yet. So you do want to put your strap in first. Run that through the middle hole. I'm not trimming that down because later on when I put my inserts I might have to resize it. Now there is a cavity, or you know, there's room back here for your knot, but you do want to tighten it as much as possible so it's not too thick. So like right now, if it's too thick, it's going to pucker that end. I'm just going to do it a little more, but I still should be able to undo that. And then grab your screws that came with this. These things are sold separately too, but you're going to take the ones that go in the back, which is without any holes or anything. These go in the front, which is the front of this. You're going to run them through the front of your cover, through the hole. Push them up. It's going to stay in there in place because I used a 1/8 of an inch thing. Okay, and now what you're going to do is, if everything was lined up according to your template, this will fit in perfectly. You need a flathead screwdriver, which I have been leaving this out. Oh, this is going to be so cute. And then put your screws in and just screw it in. I suggest not completely tighten it until you know everything is the way you want it, and then come back in and give it a good snug tightness on there. So I'm not going to go all the way because I probably will have to change the size of the elastic. So okay, so there we go. So there's our first cover, and the elastic. It's going to be a little bit loose because there's nothing in here. I think that might be alright though. Isn't that cute? I haven't even picked out the paper for this yet, but here's the pocket, so you can just slip things in. Oh, this is going to be so cute when it's filled. Alright, so that's pretty much it on the standard ring bound or standard personal. And it's got a good feel to it too. I'm going to leave it open just so it continues to dry because it hasn't been a full hour yet. So let's work with this one to do this Traveler's Notebook. What size was this? The pocket size Traveler's Notebook. And now we're not putting any mechanisms, but all we need is the elastic. And I actually do have measurements for this one as far as elastics is concerned. So for the elastics that go here for 4 inserts, you're going to need about 28 inches. So, and that gives you a little bit extra wiggle room. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Well, why am I doing 26 is 13 and 13. 27, 28. Why do I make it harder? I haven't done one of these in a little while. So that's the insert part. And then for the strap, it's about 13, so about the size of this. Again, leaving extra. I always, you know, do a little bit more just so I have enough room to make knots, and then cut off the extra. Alright, and then we're just going to strap this, which somewhere I have a plastic needle. Like I said, I haven't used these things in a while, so let me find that. I'm going to pause. Okay, I found it. I think I got this from JoAnns. No, I didn't. Did I? I think I got it online, but these are just plastic needles. And they have a pretty long, wide hole up there. And I'm just going to run this through because it makes my life easier. You don't need this, but I'm not going to go all the way. I'm just going to leave one end. And I usually start from the middle hole. And I go from the inside of my cover through the outside, and then I'll pull this up to about here, like almost the length of the cover, and then usually I go to my left and into the other hole from the outside in and pull, and then go straight down. I've done this so many times, but I know, don't pull too much, especially with this type of material, because it'll buckle it. Then I went through to the next one, which is the middle, and now I'm going to come back up to that first one that I did and go through there, in and out, not too tight. And here again, same thing, and then through the bottom, straight down, and then back up through the middle one, and we're going to join this one with this one. So now we could just pull that off. I keep it in here so I don't lose it. And, you know, making sure that you're not completely tightening too much. We're just going to, let's see, pull and just kind of even it out. And pull and pull. I think right there might be good. I'm just making it taut but not too tight. And now we're going to tie these two together in the middle. A couple knots is all you really need. Make sure again that you're not buckling too much. So I'm going to pull this way and kind of hold with my hands or my fingers down so I don't pull too much, and then just tighten that. You're not tightening this part but these two instead. Alright, and then we're going to cut off the excess, just leaving a little bit. And I don't have inserts right now to put in here, but that's going to give you that. Once everything is filled, it kind of shapes itself. Okay, so we've got our 4 elastics, and now we do this one here. I wish I had something to use. I don't even have. Oh, hold on, let me just tighten this first. Not tight, but you know what I mean. Let me grab something to put in here. Something. What can I put in there? Okay. I would think that this might be, well, maybe not that. I just needed something to kind of look at. Usually I have inserts ready to go in, to put in here. So like, see, this would be too long, not tight enough. So I'm going to pull it, push it up. And this is going on the thin side. Usually I stuff it more. So around there, I think. Okay, let's do it that way. And you can always adjust later. So I'm going to pull this down a little more. Tighten it. I'm not going to cut that one yet until I get my inserts in. But just run it through there like we did with the other one. And I'm leaving this here so I remember this is going to be my back. And I don't remember why. There was a reason. I think it's the puckering, but I don't even see that anymore. Yeah, well, let's take it off. Okay, so when it's filled, of course, it will look even better. And there's our traveler's notebook. So we have made a traveler's notebook, and this looks pretty big for a smaller planner, but it's the right size. It's smaller than a B6. Pocket notebook, traveler's notebook, and the ring bound planner. But they look alike. If you were wanting to have 2 planners, it would be a cute, you know, combo here. And yeah. So anyway, I hope this helped out. A little newer, fresher tutorial on planners here. And until next time, see you guys in the next video. Bye now.